Hi, today I'm going to be working on my Ruger 1022. This Ruger is pretty much stock other than the Nodak spud sights that we've added. And we recently shot it at an Appleseed event, and one of the things I found is that the lack of an auto bolt release made it difficult for my son in the magazine switch portions of the competition. So today we're going to break this down and switch out the existing bolt release mechanism, which requires pushing this button while the hammer's back, and we're going to put a Volquartsen auto bolt release in. So you can get these, I think they're about $10. I did find that there's actually a way to modify the Ruger one, so I'll show you a little bit about that later. So I'm going to break the gun down first. If you haven't broke one of these down, it is helpful to get the safety in somewhat of a neutral position. And then after the two bolts are removed, it's pretty easy to wiggle the action and the barrel loose from the unit. We need to drive out a few pins here. Which will remove the trigger group. So once you've removed the trigger group, you can start disassembling that as well. This first pin knocks out pretty easily, and then you need to knock out the hammer pin, and the parts will come out. Maybe. One more pin at the front here. And you've got the piece out. Now, while we're in here, I'm going to do some cleaning and then reassemble with the new part. So you can see the main difference. The Volquartsen auto catch has got these extra holes, which I'm not sure the function, but primarily it's missing this notch. So the modification you should be able to do is to grind that notch out of the original one and have an auto bolt release. But since I've already paid for the Volquartsen version, we're just going to swap it out. So the first step is to get the new unit down inside and this first lowest pin reinstalled. This also goes through the bolt release mechanism. Sorry, not the bolt, the mag release mechanism. So you need to line all of those parts back up. There you go. So found that location. You can see the mag release functioning again. So next we're going to return the hammer. So spring goes on the back side of the hammers. I have it facing us here. drops down in, and you'll find that in the bolt disconnector, ultimately is where that slides down into the kink in the spring. A little bit hard to see as I've got it set up here. There we go. So once you've got it in place, you need to put the pin in as you're looking at it. So next we're going to return the hammer. So the spring goes on the back side of the hammers. I have it facing us here. Drops down in, and you'll find that in the bolt disconnector, ultimately is where that slides down into the kink in the spring. A little bit hard to see as I've got it set up here. There we go. So once you've got it in place, you need to put the pin in as you're looking at it. So getting that pin in while filming through the camera was a little difficult. I ended up slipping a punch in, but you can see the flat part of the spring is up. The lower part is connected to the bolt release mechanism, and the hammer is in the rearward position. So now I can replace the punch with the pin. And then you'll notice that the hammer won't move forward because it's being held by the trigger. So we can pull the trigger, drop the hammer forward, slip the spring in. Now we can put the spring back in place. It drops down into a hole and then has to line up with this slot in the hammer right here. So once it's cocked, move that. And then the flat leg of this spring needs to be pushed down in while the extractor is installed. So we're going to put the extractor pin in through the bolt release hole, through the extractor hole. Oops. Which then falls down into this slot. Sorry, it's an ejector, not an extractor. And then this spring arm needs to be held down while that pin is put in place. And your trigger group has now been reassembled, so you can pull the hammer as such. And that completes installation of the auto bolt release. So, now that the trigger group has the new part in it and is assembled, it can be put back into the receiver. And we can test the function. So as you can see, the bolt catch is now catching the bolt, and pull it back, let go, it moves forward. Check it again. So hopefully this will improve how quickly we can perform reloads during shoots, and maybe give us a little extra time to work on our scores. Thanks for watching. Bye.